Omar Villafranca. Omar, thanks. President-elect Donald Trump is defending a congratulatory phone call he took from the president of Taiwan. The conversation broke decades of presidential protocol and caused China to lodge a formal diplomatic protest with the United States. The Trump transition team says this does not represent a policy shift. But the Washington Post is reporting the call with Taiwan was long planned and the result of months of deliberations regarding a potential new strategy for engagement with Taiwan. Joining us now from Washington is John McLaughlin. He served as deputy director and acting director of the CIA. He now teaches at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. All right, Director McLaughlin, you wrote an op-ed titled "Trump versus China: What's Really at Stake?" While the White House quickly reassured Beijing of America's longstanding one China policy, should the United States re-examine that policy?
I don't think we need to re-examine it, Elaine. I think it has served us well for a long period of time, what's called the one China policy. President-elect Trump, his first foray into this field with the telephone call is something I suspect the Chinese at this point are just thinking about, trying to figure out what it signifies. They tend not to react impulsively to this sort of thing, but I'm sure it's gotten their attention.
Well, after defending the call, Mr. Trump then took to Twitter Sunday night to attack China over things such as the value of its currency, its taxing of U.S. products, and its military buildup in the South China Sea. Is there a benefit to sending a forceful message like that to China?
Well, there's always a benefit to being clear with China about your preferences and about your objections to what they're doing. I suspect, though, China at this point is looking at the president-elect and, as I say, studying this and trying to figure out where he's going with it. They probably have about 3 different options that they're thinking about. One may be, this is a new guy, not exactly a rookie mistake, but a guy who's still feeling his way and trying something new. A second way they may be thinking about this is that's strike one. In other words, we'll let this one pass and see what happens next, and if this is really a signal of a change in policy. And the other possibility for them is simply to think that maybe it is a change in policy, and they could be then plotting their reaction to what it is, how they would react if this is a major shift.
In your op-ed, you say the U.S. should retain strong economic integration and influence in the region as a balance to Beijing's growing power. The president-elect opposes the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and I wonder what you think if that, in fact, becomes policy.
I think that's a big mistake, Elaine. This Trans-Pacific Partnership is one that I think would benefit U.S. workers. It will remove about 18,000 tariffs on U.S. goods. It will increase, by most estimates, the income of U.S. workers by about $77 billion overall. And more importantly, those are the economic aspects. More importantly, there's a geopolitical dimension to this, which is even more important. China is feeling rather confident now in Asia because it is fielding 3 major economically based transformational objectives in the region. Most of the countries in that region have the balance of their trade with China, not with the U.S. Take Australia, for example, sends 34% of its exports to China. South Korea sends 26% of its exports there. So without this agreement, the Trans-Pacific Partnership that the new president-elect opposes, without that agreement, it really cedes the field to China in terms of influence in Asia. And most of the countries who have signed on to this, 11 others in addition to the United States, have put a lot of political capital in terms of backing it. And I think they are very upset that the U.S. is stepping back.
Yes, and I've had people tell me that they're concerned about the message that sends about the United States commitment in that region. I want to ask you, Director, many see the Taiwan situation highlighting how important the Secretary of State will be in the Trump administration. As you know, former Utah Governor and Ambassador to China Jon Huntsman is now reportedly being considered. What do you make of that?
I think Ambassador Huntsman would be an excellent choice for Secretary of State. Think of it this way. The relationship we have with China, for all of the difficulties in it, is probably the single most important relationship the United States has in the world. It's a rising power. We have tensions with it. It's delicate. Ambassador Huntsman is a fluent Mandarin speaker. He has been ambassador there. And I think anyone who's been ambassador to China has a good grasp of Asian policy. But I think from what I know of him, he also is well-versed in global events generally. So I think he would be an excellent pick.
All right. John McLaughlin, thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you, Elaine.